Hello and welcome. My name is Dylan Simmons, GIS Student Assistant here at Fresno State, and today we will be covering how to use feature layers in ArcGIS Online. By the end of this video, you should understand what feature layers are, how they work, and how to create, edit, delete, and share them, as well as how to digitize map features using a feature layer. Now, let's get started. Please feel free to stop this video and explore or take your time as we continue. The first thing we will need to do is sign into our Fresno State email. To do this, please log in to your Fresno State email account in your browser. Here in Chrome, I am signed into my Fresno State email account. This is required for both faculty and for students. In a new browser tab, we are going to the following web address. You may pause the video here and copy the link on screen or get it from the description down below. Here, we are taken to the Fresno State GIS Hub sign-in page. There are two options to select from: the ArcGIS login, and the Fresno State Organizational Login in blue. We are clicking on the Fresno State login. This will redirect us to the Campus Login Services page. Here, you will sign in and complete your duo verification. Once you have done both, you will be taken to the Fresno State GIS Hub. Now that we are in the Fresno State GIS Hub, in the top ribbon, we are going to click on Content. From here, we are going to click on New Item under the word Content in the top left of the screen. In the menu we are presented with, we are going to click on Feature Layer. We will then click on Define Your Own Layer and Next. Before we create a feature layer, let's define it. A feature layer is a container used by ArcGIS Online to store spatial data and non-spatial data like points, lines, polygons, or tables. In this demo, we will create a feature layer that holds three spatial types: points, lines, and polygons. A single feature layer can store multiple datasets, even of the same type, such as separate point layers for trees and light poles. Back in our interface, here we see where our data is titled and what our data type is. Below this, we have options for metadata and for Z and M values. Here, clicking on Point Layer, we see our options, including Point Layer, Line Layer, Polygon Layer, Multi-Point Layer, and Table. For this first data type, we want Point Layer. This first one we are going to rename to Trees. Below this, we are going to click the Add button and create a new data type, which we are going to change to Line Layer. Here, we are going to title this one Sidewalks. We are then going to click the Add button again, changing this new item to Polygon and renaming it to Park Area. Once we are done, we are going to click Next. On the metadata page, here we are going to add a title, tags, and summary for our item. Here, I'm titling this item Turtle Park Feature Layer _ my initials. You want to add your initials to the end of this item in case someone else has saved a file with the exact same name. This will make it unique, allowing you to save. Here, under tags, I'm going to add the tags Parks, Fresno, Hayes, and Herndon. For a summary, I'm going to briefly describe our item, and once done, click Save. Once ArcGIS Online is done creating the feature layer, it should take you to the overview page for the item. Here, we are going to click on Open in Map Viewer in the top right corner of the screen. Upon loading the map viewer, we are going to expand the layer for our item, clicking through each data type, viewing the panel for property options for each selection. Next, we need something to digitize. In the bottom right of the map, we are going to click on the magnifying glass at the top of the icon stack in the corner. In the text box, we are going to type North Cedar Hill Drive and Turtle Bay Drive, Fresno. It should bring us here. Verify that the address is correct. And now we need some imagery to digitize. Currently, we are on a base map that doesn't provide any. On the fourth icon from the top left, we are going to click on Basemap. Here, we are going to select Imagery. With our imagery selected, we are going to go back to Layers and re-expand our item. Now, to begin digitizing, on the left panel, third from the bottom, we are going to click on Edit. Here, under Edit, we see the option for new features for all three of our data types. Zooming in on the map, we can see the area that we are going to be digitizing. Note the shadows, as they will be helpful when determining trees in a moment. To get started, we are going to click New Feature for Trees. Here, moving the mouse around, you will see that it is now a crosshair with a red point. This is representing the point that will be made with you clicking. Here, on this tree, I'm going to left-click once to place the point, moving my mouse away and left-clicking again to confirm its placement. This will also give me a new point that can be placed. With any of the tools selected, to pan, simply hold down the left click and move around. To zoom in and out, use your scroll wheel, and to rotate the map, hold down your right mouse button and move your mouse to the left or to the right. To reset your facing to north after rotating, simply click the compass icon above the search magnifying glass in the icon stack in the bottom right. Here, we are going to now digitize all of the trees in the park. As an example, I'm also going to place an extra dot in the middle of a field. Once you are done, in the bottom right corner, you may click on Create. Note that once you are done, you still have the tool selected to create a feature, and by clicking on the map, we'll create a new point. To exit the tool, we are simply going to click the back button at the top of the Create Feature panel. Now, to edit a feature, let's go over our tools. Currently, we have Pan selected, which does not allow us to interact with geometry and only move about the map. To the right is the Select by Point tool. Holding down left click with this tool also allows me to pan around the map. Here, I'm going to click on the point I made in the middle of the field. Hovering over the selected point with my cursor now gives me a different crosshair with 4 arrows. Holding down left click with the new arrow allows me to drag and move the point to a new location. Here, I'm going to place it in this field, and in the bottom right corner, click Update. Here, in Edit Features, we have 2 additional options for selection, a drag box select and a lasso select. Here, I'm going to use the lasso select to select our point. To use the lasso select, simply left-click and start drawing. Left-click again to confirm and finish the drawing. Here, I'm going to use the lasso select on multiple points. This allows me to edit and move multiple points at once. Here, I can either move all of these 8 points together or delete them all together. Anytime you delete a feature, there will be a warning before deleting. Going back to the point I moved, I'm going to delete this as it was an extra for my demonstration. To clear your view, in the Layer panel next to your data type, you can click the eye to toggle hide the feature layer. Back in the editor, underneath Sidewalks, we are clicking New Feature. Here, we have 2 options, Draw Polyline and Draw Polyline Freehand. We are going to keep Draw Polyline. Hovering over the map, our cursor turns to a black cross with an orange dot. Left-clicking creates a line between the dot and our mouse. Each subsequent left-click will connect these points into a line. Panning and rotating are the same as with the point tool. Here, we are going to trace the sidewalk around the park. I'm going to leave this area here purposely wrong so that we can correct it later. As we go around the park, we are continuing to left-click to continue the line. For your final point on the line, simply left-click to place it, and left-click once more directly atop of it to finish your selection. This will complete your line. To move your line, simply hover over and left-click to get the 4-arrow cursor to drag it around. If you do this by accident, hitting Ctrl-Z on your keyboard will put it to its original place. Once you are done editing your line and are ready to save, click Create at the bottom right corner. Once you are done, exit the tool by clicking the back button up at the top of the panel. Here, back in the editor, we will now edit our line. To do so, select Select by Point in the Edit Features and left-click on your line. Here, with it selected, you may drag it around, and if you do this by accident, again, Ctrl-Z to return it to its position. Left-clicking again will allow you to edit the vertexes that make up the line. Here, they are seen in orange. To deselect, simply left-click out into space, and left-click again to re-enter the edit mode. Here, we see two types of dots, or vertexes. We have orange and white. Orange are real vertexes that affect the geometry, and white are pseudo-vertexes that exist between points. Clicking on any of these white points and dragging them will make them a full vertex. Doing so will create new white vertexes between the orange. To remove a vertex, simply right-click on the orange vertex, hovering over it, to delete it. To add a vertex back, simply grab a white vertex and pull it into place. This allows you to edit geometry without needing to redraw your entire line. Once you are done, click Update in the corner for ArcGIS to save your work. Once you are done, you may disable the view of sidewalks in the Layers panel if you find it distracting. If not, you may leave it open. Here, going back to the Edit panel, we are now going to create a new feature for the park area. Here, we have different settings for our tool. We can draw polygon freehand, draw rectangle, or draw circle. Here, we are going to use draw polygon. Here, left-clicking to place a vertex, we get a line again, as similar to the line tool. However, after the second point, you will see that we are actually creating an area. Here, the pan and rotate tools work the same as the other two tools. Here, continuing to left-click will add more points, which will create the perimeter of our area. To complete your polygon, like with the line, left-click to place your final point, and left-click that point again to complete the shape. To move the shape, simply hover over, left-click, and drag, and if it was by mistake, Ctrl-Z to replace it. Once you are satisfied, click Create in the bottom right-hand corner to finish the creation process. To get out of the tool, hit the back arrow at the top of the panel, and in the editor, select Select by Point, and left-click into the polygon. This will select the polygon, allowing you to move it again, or by left-clicking once more, you get to the vertexes that make up the perimeter. Here, right-clicking, same with the line, removes points, and same with the line, dragging white pseudonodes, or vertexes, will cause new points to exist. You can drag these around to change the geometry, and to create new shapes or edit what you had before. Once you have made the changes that you like, here I'm just messing around and drawing something, you can click Update to save your work. Once you are done and want to make sure that all of your stuff is saved, simply go over to the three dots at the end of each of your layers and click Save with the three dots. There is no save option for the layer itself, only Save As, which we do not need to do. Once you are done making your edits, and once you are done making your saves, in the top left corner, we are going to click on the pancake and click on Content. Here, we will get a Leave Site warning, however, we can ignore this as we have saved our content. On our My Content page, we should see our Turtle Park feature layer at the top, which we do. Mousing over and clicking on the person icon in the same row, we are going to open our share settings. Here, by default, everything is set to private with the owner. Here, we can change to organization, which is Fresno State, or make it open to the public. If we were to say click organization, we can revert this change without saving, or click it again and click save to make it available to our organization. Here with public, we could do the same, or click cancel or the X at the top to get out of the menu and make no changes. Here, clicking the checkbox in front of the title, we can also do the same share settings or delete or move our file. Here, there are more options, however, we're not going to cover those today. Clicking on Delete, here we see that we can delete our feature layer, which we will, and say you did this by accident, you can recover it by going to the bottom of your folders and clicking on Recycle Bin. Here, we will see our feature layer. Clicking the checkbox again, we have two options, one to restore and one to delete permanently. There's also the restore option in line with the file. If you do not restore the file, it will be automatically deleted within 14 days. To restore an item, click Restore in either of the two locations, and doing so will give you the item restore prompt. Here, select the folder you want to restore to and click Restore. This will take it out of your recycle bin and put it in your content. Back in All My Content, you should see the feature layer at the top. Clicking on it will take you to the item overview, where you can see all of the layer properties. Here, we see our three layers, and expanding them gives us an area to edit the summary, description, and acknowledgements in case that is required for your work. Opening in Map Viewer will show that all of our work was correctly saved before we left. Zooming in on a point on the map with your scroll wheel, you can see that all of the items are correct and they are where we left them. Congratulations! You now know how to create, edit, delete, and share new feature layers, as well as to digitize map features using a feature layer. Should you need any further assistance, please browse the other videos we have here explaining other GIS topics, or make an appointment with us here in the library at the Geospatial Information Services. Thank you for watching and learning more about how to use ArcGIS Online.